Ashley. Hi, it's so nice to have you on.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
Sometimes people think I'm referring to in the third person. And I'm like, well, Ashley in this run. And they're like, she's already going crazy.
Well, and yeah, it's so fun when you were. I saw a video that you recorded about the connections of Ashley and how you're running near the Ashley National Forest during your segment, and it's fun to have all those connections. I remember actually running past that forest area during my run across the country. So you mentioned that in your video. I'm like, yes, she knows where she's gonna be. This is great. So you are our segment 5 runner for this relay. And I want to take the opportunity to get to know you a little bit more. I noticed that you love running and you also are into cycling. So tell me a little bit about how you got into both sports.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like at this point in my life, I feel very removed from cycling, but I very much used to be really in it in that I worked in the cycling industry. I worked in a bike shop. I was on my bike. It was like when I lived in San Diego, where why not ride your bike every day? I was just very much on my bike. And now I like maybe go out for an evening stroll on the mountain bike or maybe like mix it up when I'm injured from running. But yeah, I got into cycling from my older brother, my brother. He was always a cyclist. And I remember like in the 80s skateboarding, then it turned into like BMX, then turned into like maybe mountain biking first and road cycling. And eventually I think I wasn't until I was in college that I got my first hand-me-down bike from my brother, like real bike. And I didn't know anything about locking up bikes on campus. So I came out one day on April Fool's Day and my bike was gone. And I never then locked up a bike the wrong way.
What did you just do the wheel, or how did you, I mean, this is a little sidebar, but
Yeah. Yeah. And I walked around campus all day, like, who took my bike? It's not funny. Give it back. I know it's April Fool's Day. But yeah, my brother's always into the cycling scene and raced for a local bike shop in our hometown in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. And then it ended up going to school in Durango, Colorado, racing on the cycling team there. And I remember one day we went to visit him in college and we were sitting in the motel watching the TV, and his coach happened to be on TV and was talking about him as like one of the upcoming big cyclists. And the other guy he was talking about eventually went on to ride in the tour. So yeah, my brother is a cyclist, and but ended up going back to school in Oklahoma to get more serious about going to medical school. So
and this is your older brother. So were you guys close growing up? Was it more of like you're my best friend and then also I hate you, or is it always you're great and I want to do everything you're doing? What was your relationship like growing up?
I'd say it was all of the above. I am the middle child. I have a younger sister by 17 months, and we are very much like my sister Oil and Vinegar, and like we fight all the time, like still to this day. uh, but my brother was more, I guess we're more, our temperaments are more the same, our activities are more the same, our lifestyles are more the same. So we always connected in that, and have like still have a lot of the same friends. And so it was just like whatever he did was really cool to me. Like whatever music he told me to listen to, it's still the case. Like he still sends me CDs, like that's still anything that my brother did, whether he realized that was the coolest thing ever, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So
I love that. I have two sisters and a brother, so I know what that bond is like and how it shifts and stuff. You are running the relay for your brother, and we'll get into that a little bit more during your segment in the episode. But he's living with MS, and so you signed up for this relay, you made the team, and then most recently we released to the team what our COVID precautions are right now for the upcoming event. So when we release that, and it's a little strict in terms of who can be out cheering us on and who can support us, because we're trying to limit exposure for you and the road crew. So when we initially released that, knowing that you're running in Utah, you're going to be close to friends and family, what was your initial reaction to these restrictions that we have in place this year?
I went into this whole event never expecting to have anyone else on the race course with me. So I had seen videos and photos of people that had done it in the past, and it always looked like there was like maybe the RV and them. And so I just never thought it was going to be like this big hurrah, like, because it is in the middle of Utah, and my family lives in Oklahoma, or I have friends in Colorado, and I have friends in California. So I just never went into it expecting to have people there in the first place. I think my family and maybe some friends were like, oh, what day? Like, we'll come, maybe we can do a day of it. And I think my mom was expecting to have like if you know my mother, she wants to have a parade the entire event. And there'll be like a snack station and cocktails afterwards. And so I think it might've broken her heart, but I'm totally okay with it. And like my father-in-law even wanted to like ride his motorcycle, and my brother's got this cool, it's called Not a Wheelchair. It's like this awesome motorized, like can go off-road. And I was like, oh, maybe he can follow me. So like it started dreaming it up, but I never in my mind was like married to having someone out there with me. Like I've done relays across part of California. It's like, there's something about someone there's the expectation. If someone's waiting for you, it's like, there's added pressure of like, come on now, you've been out here, let's go. And if there's someone waiting for you, but your RV, it's like, oh, we don't have anywhere else to go.
It'll take a little pressure off of the pressure of running 6 marathons in 6 days.
And the elevation is actually the worst thing. Like, I'm not even nervous of the miles. I'm just nervous of the elevation.
It's all a part of the adventure. So you got married recently, a year and a half ago, and your Instagram shows me that you and your husband are these like adventure running, cycling, cross-country skiing, always out doing something really cool type of people. So how did you meet your husband?
So par for the course. We actually met at a race in the Oakland Hills that one of our friends was hosting. It's called a Sasquatch race is the name of the racing company. And we had mutual friends that were running it, but we didn't know one another. So anyways, I guess we started together, did this trail race, and we're coming to the finish, and the finish was down this way, but the chalk had been by then that like hikers had walked over the chalk. So we get there, we don't know which way. So I go straight, and I see someone coming, and they're going, no, don't go this way. Don't go this way. And so I'm like, what? He goes, no, I think the finish is down the hill. So we both go down the hill to the finish. And at that point we realize the finish is close. So I start taking off, and I learned later that he was like, what? I just got this girl back on course. He, being my now husband, gets me back on course. And I'm just trying to like beat him, because I'm like, I don't owe you anything. And so he said he tried to chat me up afterwards. I don't remember. But anyways, years later, we ended up literally running with the same people again at like a Saturday chill run. And then I pursued him, and he said, don't you remember when we met years ago? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he told me the whole story, and I said, that was you? He's like, I think I have a photo of us at the start line. And sure enough, like we're beside each other at the start line years after. I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny, because I'm the one pursuing you, but you're the creepy one with a photo of us. So I guess it was all meant to be. And I think I've been running more with age, and he's been slow, he rides more, I run more. So
now you're just touring together in these various different, I love that story. And I love that you took off and you're like, I don't owe you anything.
Years later, we looked it up. I was like, so who won? Who ended up? He goes, oh, I think I won. And I said, well, let's look it up. And so I looked it up, and it was a dead tie. So it's just like, we finished a lot of races very similar. And he's a way better cyclist than I am.
Now he missed an opportunity there, because the right answer is I won because I got to marry you.
That's the right answer.
Depends on when you ask him. So you can ask about bad habits now.
Yes. So meeting is fun, marriage is fun, wedding is fun. What is the thing that you do that you don't find that annoying, but like he's like, Ashley, you gotta stop this. This is so annoying. Do you have a thing that irritates him but doesn't irritate you?
In the evenings and I think I even did this in the car, but anytime there's a dull moment and I don't have something to do, I'm not making something, or when we're watching TV, my nails, I sit there and like make noises, and it's just, I think my mom does it. She twiddles her thumb. And so it's just like, we have to do something. We're busy people. And he every night he's like, stop it. Stop it. Now I have a blanket. I put my hand in a blanket. And he's like, I still see her doing it.
I'm not. It's under a blanket. Just let me be me. That's awesome. So now, before we wrap up, I'm going to give you the opportunity to put me in the hot seat. Do you have any questions for me personally or about the organization that you've been dying to ask?
Yes. Think I would like to know, I mean, you created this whole event, which is an amazing event. And the idea that you did it by yourself at one point, like a feat that, so when I tell people I'm doing this, they're like, what? This is insane. I'm like, oh, no. You don't know insane. The other Ashley, the first Ashley, she did this entire thing by herself, and they like, no one can wrap their head around this. But I was wondering, I was like, oh, I wonder if she had the time again. In a dream world, you've got a few months on your hands to go explore something again or do something again for the first time. Where would you run?
Yeah, that's such a good question, because I feel like I part of the reason I did the event is because I'm just wanderlust, like I just want to go travel, see the world. So I feel like two places. I would do Central America, or I would do some sort of like European tour, but that would be a little bit more encumbered because you could you'd be crossing countries versus crossing states, which is different. But there's just so many places that I think are great to see on foot. So those would be my two that I would research if I had the opportunity to do something like this again. Really great question. But I am really excited for your segment video and for you to run segment 5. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you a little bit more, and just really appreciate your time in this Behind the Laces interview.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad to be 5, because that means I have an entire month before I start, and I can watch these people suffer through as they make their way to me. So I'm so glad I'm not number 1 or 2.
You'll set an example for like 6, 7, 8, 9. You got a whole group behind you too. So thank you so much. You have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Bye, Ashley.
I'm Ashley Schneider, Executive Director of MS Run US. Thank you so much for watching our videos, and make sure to subscribe so you can get our latest uploads.